Welcome back. Well, it is another really hot day, and I'm filming this on a Sunday, so no makeup. Sorry, what you see is what you get. It's not just hot today, it's humid, and it's going to start raining any minute, and I've been inside, outside, and I'm just, you know, once again in one of those, oh dear, my clothes are sticking to me. So, I know, isn't it lucky you can't smell me from there? Whoa! I shouldn't say that, it's not that bad. Audie licked me though, and when he licks me it usually means I'm perspiring, because for some reason, he likes the taste of my perspiration. Maybe it's the salt. I should probably start putting down a little salt lick for him, as if he were a little deer. I don't know what to say. My God, this is turning into like a way too much information video, huh? All right, when we come back, we are going to talk about ways to get on eBay or Etsy and make some money, even if you're not a reseller. Well, when we first started getting together a year ago, I sort of assumed that most of you were resellers or wanted to be resellers or thrifters or repurposers, and that was your interest in this channel. And, that's not necessarily so. And I'm starting to realize that now as I get to know some of you a little. And I say some of you because there are a lot of you, which is wonderful. That's great. I'm not knocking that. It's wonderful that there are a lot of you, but it's tough because I'll never get to know all of you, so I just have to reconcile myself to the fact that if I'm lucky, I'll get to know a few of you a little bit, and then we'll move on. But anyway, what I am realizing, though, is that a lot of you are craft-oriented people. You've left all kinds of comments indicating the sorts of crafts that you do. And I've seen everything from, gee, I knit wool socks to, I make little wooden toys for children. And that's what we're going to talk about today, because the last couple of weeks, actually, it's more than the last couple of weeks. I guess it's the last month. When I hit my 1-year anniversary on YouTube, I started doing a little research about what is a viable Etsy or eBay career. What are the economics telling me about this? What does math say? And I'm all about the math, because math does not lie. So I started doing some research to figure out what are the most saleable items you could put on Etsy or eBay. And in fact, it's probably right in your wheelhouse, at least for many of you. And you might not even realize it. So these are the biggest selling items on Etsy. Well, it's mostly Etsy. Some of them are pulled from other sources, which is online sales in general, but mostly Etsy, because that is the handcrafted marketplace. So let's take a look at these and see if there are some economic opportunities for some of you here. Personalized pet tags, right across the board. That was number one. If you want to make money, you find a way to put Fido's name on something, on a tag, on a bowl, on a sweater, on a bed. For some of you who are good at leather crafts, that's a collar. For some of you who are good with a needle and thread, that's a bed, that's a sweater. Personalized pet items. And keep in mind, it doesn't have to be personalized. unique and interesting pet items. We are in a pet-loving society, and people will spend money for their pets. My dog, the one I've talked to you about, Audie, is in mourning for the dog. Yeah, I did a count after my dog passed when I had to pack her things up, and she had over 40 sweaters. I know. I should be ashamed of myself. You know, and believe me, there is part of me that says it's not okay that my dog has 40 sweaters where there are little children going to bed cold at night. You know, unfortunately, they can't fit into the dog sweaters because, believe me, that's where those dog sweaters will be going. But people will spend money on their animals, even people who don't consider themselves morons. I don't consider myself a moron. 40 sweaters, and I would get the sweaters, and then because my dog liked to jingle, I would sew bells on them. And then Audie liked when the dog would jingle and would chase her around to get at the bells. And it was just a fun time in my house. But I mean, I was even customizing the already customized sweaters. People are crazy for their pets. So bottom line, can you figure out how to put a pet's name on a water bowl, on a collar, on a bed, on a blanket? That is an opportunity for you. You've got a market there. Another one, bookmarks. And this is one of those, like, literally anybody can do it. A bookmark is just something that's flat and can slide into a book. I have bookmarks that are just little pieces of satin ribbon, not even expensive silk ribbon, just cheap satin ribbon with little charms stitched on either end. And so it's like, probably about 18 inches of ribbon and a couple of interesting little charms. That's the bookmark. And I will have paid money for that. I will have seen something like that at a store, and I will have dropped $5 or $6 for it, for a piece of ribbon with a couple of little charms on either end. I have some really interesting little items that I use as bookmarks that I picked up on Etsy. If you ever do any shopping on Etsy, go over to my Etsy shop and take a look at the stuff that I favorite, because the stuff that I buy myself is very different from the stuff that I sell. And I like steampunk, so I'll get these little steampunk gears that are made out of, I guess it's fiberboard or a heavy-duty pressed cardboard. Take some twine, run it through, just a little bit of string with the twine and the little steampunk gear, and bang, that's a bookmark. So bookmarks, anything, they are selling, and they're selling like hotcakes too. So this is something that you could probably make, especially if you do it with paper or ribbons, for easily under $1 a piece, and sell at a reasonable price, and most of that's going to be profit. Bath bombs. I do not know very much about bath bombs. I saw a bath bomb video once. It's just, the whole video process was amazing. So I have to say that bath bombs, no, but I could sit and watch videos of bath bombs all afternoon. Nevertheless, homemade bath bombs sell. You've got a lot of competition because bath bombs are coming in from all over the world. Some of them are coming in very inexpensively, but I take it that the key with the bath bombs is the colorful explosions they make when they hit the water. So if you know about bath bombs, if this is your thing, take a good look. You can probably make your own and sell them. Magnets. If you can stick a magnet on it, whatever it is, and somebody can slap it on their refrigerator, you can sell it. You can do personalized magnets, and that is as simple as, just a little bit of calligraphy, and then, pop it up on the refrigerator. These are simple things to do. And what you do is you go on Etsy and run a search and look at what they're selling. Magnets sell. So definitely another thing to consider. Jewelry. Now we know some of you do I'm thinking of Karen Opper. Some of you do a fantastic job with jewelry. Karen's jewelry is amazing, just absolutely amazing. And I believe she does sell her jewelry online. I hope she does. Gorgeous stuff. People will buy this, especially if you can hit all the hot buttons. Vintage, handmade, repurposed, eco-friendly. That, I mean, you got to know that's going to sell. So take a look at that. Coasters. A coaster is a small square or circle of Lord knows anything that will keep your drink off the table. Let me just show you my coaster on my desk. My coaster is a piece of rock with a fossil in it. Let me see if I can point out the fossil. It's right here. It's this little orangey thing. But of course the coaster gets pretty heavy use, so you can see, in fact, it just had a drink on it, so it's all water stained. That's a coaster. At least it is for me. In my house, a coaster is a fossil that is probably several million years old, just sapping up the excess from the can of Coke. So, coasters, everything. Coasters can be bits of cloth, bits of wood, bits of almost anything. If you can think of it, you can probably turn it into a coaster. Again, go online, see what's out there. Hairbands and ties. Oh my goodness. If you have a scrap of fabric, you have hairbands and ties. If I were inclined to do this, and I'm just going to give you this one for free, any of you who don't mind doing a little rolled handkerchief hem. You go to eBay, you grab some of those bits of sari cloth, roll a handkerchief hem on those. Even with shipping, what were they? It was something like $6. Very inexpensive, as I recall. And you can do some beautiful, unique stuff. And if you think people will not buy vintage, hand-stitched headbands made from sari fabric, come on. You gotta know. I mean, I'll tell you right now, if I were scrolling through a listing and found that, I'm going to go right over there. It's like, ooh, I want this, I want that, I want something else. People will buy them. There are a lot of hot buttons in that because you've got vintage, you've got handmade, and you have, of course, South Asian fabrics. Wow. Yeah, people will buy it. Candles. If you have any talent for making candles, and apparently, according to Benjamin Franklin, there was virtually no talent at all in making candles. His family did that. And in fact, he trained as a printer because there were so many kids in his family and only so many candle makers needed in Boston. But candle making apparently is extremely simple. I have done it years ago. Well, it was back in the 70s, and, we were all sort of, like, hippie flower children making our own candles that were like totally getting back to nature, man. And it was just like this super, like totally eco-friendly, like green, like really, really, really green. And you could just like get high on the flame. Wow. Okay, so that's what I was into. Barely remember the 70s at all, but still, you can make candles. If I could do it, especially back then, trust me, you can. What is this? Keychains. Let's see. There we go. Keychains. That was next. It's on my little list here, and I I can't read my own writing. Keychains are a split ring and a charm of some sort. Any sort of charm. The things that are inclined to sell for key rings are things that are going to appeal to, say, new parents or grandparents. You know, a little boy charm, little girl charm for people who have a baby, little cat charm, little dog charm. Boy, if you can get your hands on all kinds of different little doggy charms, you know there's going to be a buyer for every breed out there. So they sell. Lip balm is another one that sells. Homemade lip balm, and you can easily get the little plastic tubs that it goes in. And the tubs are tiny. They are like really, really small. So if you make up a cup of lip balm, just a cup, you're probably looking at 20 or 30 little tubs of it. So that's one of those, a little goes a long way. There's a lot of profit to be had in that. So consider it, especially if your thing is more likely to be cooking on your stovetop rather than, calligraphy or leather tooling. Another thing, craft kits. If you can put together a kit of your little crafty stuff and let somebody else finish it up. For example, if you do, and this is just a random example, if you do little coasters and you do little needlepoint coasters, I've seen those all over the place. Throw the yarn and the little coaster and the little design into a bag. Somebody will buy that from you and pay good money for it. Some of these others, jewelry, yes, you can do a crafty kit for jewelry. You could do patterns, and patterns include knitting patterns, crochet patterns, sewing patterns, embroidery patterns, all kinds of things like this. So if you can create a little do-it-yourself package that you could send out, that would work too. So let's take a look at the hottest selling items on eBay. And this is just what are the biggest draws, where you're seeing the largest number of sales, the most profitable sellers. Craft supplies, and we're just talking about that. But with eBay, with Etsy, it's anything. If you sell yarn, that's craft supplies. If you sell sewing needles, craft supplies. If you sell ribbon, that is craft supplies. So if these are things that are of interest to you, and I would say never look at it just in terms of dollars and cents. Don't look at that saying, oh, I bet I could make money doing this. Try to find something you like, something that appeals to you too. So craft supplies, number one. Handmade items. And we've been talking about that. Things like your bookmarks, your hair ties, those hand-knitted socks. They will sell. It's number two on their list. Oh, and by the way, when they're looking at numbers of sales, we are talking hundreds of thousands of sales every year. Not like, I'm happy if I could sell 20 items a month. We're talking hundreds of thousands. These are the super sellers. Jewelry, again, huge. And this is all kinds of jewelry, handcrafted jewelry, vintage jewelry. A lot of it is just new imported jewelry it's not Karen Hopper stuff. Let me put it that way. It's nothing that I don't even stop and look when I see that stuff. It doesn't even catch my eye for the moment it would take me to pause that cursor and say, what is that? There's a lot of it. It's selling. So take a look at that, because believe me, if that's your competition, it's going to be easy enough to do well selling jewelry. Wedding items. Anything having to do with weddings sells. This is anything from flowers to the little pillows that you put the little ring on, to the little fancy frames that you put in the pictures, to the items that you stick in the middle of the table for the reception. Anything like this. So if you are good with artificial flowers, or if you are good with doily craft, wonder if that's really a thing. It must be a thing, because I know exactly what I mean. People who make stuff out of doilies, they're just real good at it. There you go. There's your venue. Just make sure that your little doily crafts are geared more toward the wedding industry, and you will sell. Accessories. That one took me by surprise, so it comes out of nowhere. Accessories meaning hats, gloves, belts. They mean accessories in the traditional way that we use the word when we talk in terms of clothing. So scarves, handbags, hats, belts, shoes, things like that do sell. They sell if they're modern, they sell if they're vintage, they sell if they're handmade. And so keep in mind, well, socks aren't exactly accessories, but close enough. So keep in mind, if you can actually come up with some nice handmade items, the scarves, or do your own block printing. A lot of people do that. Some of that stuff is just amazingly beautiful. Go for it. This will be an opportunity for you. Paper and party goods. Paper and party goods are just absolutely all over the place. Whole stores of just paper and party supplies. If that is something that is of interest to you, fantastic. You could personalize them. That is a great market. And personalizing these things is remarkably easy, especially, if you can just create your own stencils, things like that. Oh yeah. So that wasn't really a big surprise, the paper and party goods. I thought that would be on the list. Clothing is another thing. So while I'm wandering through thrift stores looking at porcelain and the hard goods, the people who are wandering through the racks looking for clothing are also doing well for themselves. If you're looking for clothing at thrift stores, what is going to sell best is going to be natural fabrics as opposed to polyesters, and rayon. I know we just had that bad discussion about rayon. Rayon is a quasi-natural fabric. It is made from fibers, real natural fibers. Wood pulp, bamboo, although a lot of rayon manufacturers have gotten into trouble for claiming that their items are made from bamboo, which is easily renewable. Not all of them are, but rayon, semi-natural fabric, cotton, linen, silk, wool, that's what you want to look for. Polyesters, no. They tend not to do well. Stay away from them unless you find something that is just totally iconic from a certain era. You find a pair of bell bottoms that look like somebody stole them off Greg from the Brady Bunch, you buy them, because they will have a market. And yes, of course they're going to be polyester. It was a polyester wonderland then. But other than that, try to stick with natural fabrics. And men's clothing will sell just as well as women's. Very often, if you get into those like Hawaiian shirts, men's things will get bought up by women. So that's a good avenue. Next in line was vintage just about everything. We already know that. And there are just so many vintage items that you can sell. It's out there. Take a look. But we've been working on that, so I'm going to back away from that and not try to push this. decor items. Now, I was trying to figure out what the difference between decor items and the next one, which was art items, was. So decor items seem to be home decorating items, which would include the little throw rug in front of your sink, to bathroom towels, things like that. Bathroom towels, of course, if they are personalized. If you have one of those sewing machines that does that embroiders names, and I know there are sewing machines that do that, boy, you make a killing. But you can probably make a killing just by putting little doggy faces on them too. So that's what the decor items would consist of. Curtains, rugs, towels, those are the soft goods, and then whatever hard goods. A lot of the stuff that I sell as vintage, were it modern, would fall into the decor category. But my stuff is vintage. So I call it vintage first. And finally, art. Art is an interesting category on Etsy because a lot of the time, boy, they sure do use the term loosely. Sometimes they are talking about digital prints that I'm not even sure what's going on, and you actually buy the digital file and take the digital file down to Staples and have them print it out for you. So these people are apparently just securing a license to certain kinds of artwork, and everything else it's totally virtual. So they have a license, they throw up some pictures, you want that picture, you give them some money, they download the file to you, you take it and print it. Wow, you don't even have shipping costs on that. That is an amazing opportunity. If you have the mindset to go into that, go for it, because that's just incredible. So, I hope this has been interesting. This is the product of my research over the last month, to try to find you some avenues to explore that perhaps you haven't seen already, perhaps you haven't thought of. Maybe you have a skill set that plugs into one of those areas. If so, you can make money at it. Other people right now are making money. And all of the things that I just mentioned are proven winners. In other words, these are the areas that are the top sellers in online sales, the top sellers in handcrafted items, the top sellers on Etsy. So, very good luck. I hope something just sort of resonates with you. You can kind of go to town with it. All right, I will not see you tomorrow. Tomorrow is Tuesday. I do hope to see you Wednesday for Wordy Wednesday. I don't know how that's going. Still a little too early to tell, but I'm going to stick with it for a while, mostly because I personally like it. So, take care. I'll see you all Wednesday.